Hi guys, this is Leela. Welcome back to my channel Leela Web Dev. In this video, we will learn about the new concept that is nothing but JavaScript cache storage API. Normally, we have learned about the different types of things like what I mean to say is local storage, session storage. These are all the things you are able to see. Normally, if you try to see here and if I go to inspect element and if I go to the application, so you are able to see the local storage. So you have an idea on this local storage and you are learn about the session storage, index DB, cookies. So these are all the things you are able to see it, right? And now what I want to tell you is there is also another one that is called as a cache storage. So what is this cache storage? So you'll try to learn about the storage buckets. These are all things you'll see. But we also have about one of the thing is cache storage. What is this cache storage? In this video, we are going to learn about this cache storage. So what is this cache storage? When we need to use this cache storage, and what is the difference between local storage, session storage? These are all the things from the cache storage we will learn in this. So normally, whenever you open a website, you load some data from an API and then open the same page again. If you try to open, sometimes the browser doesn't need to download the same data again and again, right? So for example, let's say that you are trying to call an API and you got some data and again you refresh the page, the same API you are calling from the network and you are getting the same data. So that means you are trying to open the same page again and again and you are downloading the data from the network resources all the time. So sometimes what we need is the browser, there is no need for the browser to download the same data again. So why? Because the browser can store the network responses locally and reuse them later. So that means whatever the API request you are trying to make it, the browser also can able to store the request, the response locally, and also it instead of making a call to the network, it can directly give you. So in this video, we are going to understand one of the browser web APIs that allows us to do exactly that one. That is nothing but the cache storage API. So instead of just learning the API methods, we will go build a small example using the API call and we'll try to learn about this one. So before this, first of all, let's try to learn what is a cache storage. So if you try to search in this one also, cache storage or something like that, so you'll be able to see. So here you'll be able to see in the JavaScript. So just what I mean to say it is cache storage is nothing but it is a browser API. Okay, it's a browser web API. So you need to understand this one that allows web application to store the HTTP request and the response. So here it will store the HTTP request and the response. For example, let's say that you are trying to make this call. So normally you are trying to make this call. So there is nothing but get API, get call of this one. And the server returns a response of something like this. Okay, so this is the request you are trying to make an HTTP request and this is the response you are trying to get it. Now we can store the entire response in the browser cache storage. Okay, here now I am not telling about the data, I am trying to tell about the HTTP response. So we can store the entire browser response in the HTTP response in the browser cache storage. Later when the application needs the same resource again, instead of going to the server again, we can retrieve the cache response. So that means what it will try to do. So the first one, what it will try to do it is, so first one, the first request will be sent. Okay, so here the browser will send the first request normally and it will go to the server. So it will get the response and it will save the response in the cache. So next time onwards, when you try to make the same request again, instead of going to the server, it will get the response from the cache storage. So that means second request, if you try to go the same second request, when you're trying to make it in the browser, this time it will get it from the cache storage. That's it. So here there will be no network request. That is the thing which I want to explain to you. So why do we need this one? So this makes your application faster and also reduce unnecessary network traffic. So why do we need this one? Let's imagine you are having an application, something like This type of things you are having, let's say, imagine. So like if the data doesn't change frequently slash config products categories like this, if the data doesn't change frequently, making a network request every single time can be unnecessary. Every network request has a cost here. So the browser may need to resolve the domain, establish or reuse the connection, send the HTTP request, wait for the server, receive the response, process the response. So if we already have a valid response locally, why do all this one again? We can simply reuse the cached response. That is one of the main reasons cache storage exists. So now you can maybe understand about the what is the difference between cache storage and also the local storage. Now you can't I use the local storage for this one? This is an important distinction. Local storage always stores the key value data. For example, let's say that if you want to store the thing means, so here what it will happen. So the local storage dot set item of username Leela. So here the data is basically key and value, but the cache storage is designed for storing the request and the response. So that is the main difference between local storage and the cache storage. So for example, let's say that you are having something like get request like this. So this one is the request get to do /1 and the response content type application. So this is how you will be able to get the request and also the response HTTP headers. Cache storage understands this HTTP request and response model. So that is why it is particularly useful for caching the network request. So now let's try to see, this is all about the code. So now let's try to implement the code so that you can able to understand the flow and all those things. So here what I mean to say it is, so first of all what I will be trying to do it is, so let's try to create a request object. So I will be trying to do the thing. So here, so what I can do it is, I will create a request. So request is equal to new request of, here I can have the same URL which we are trying to have it. That is nothing but the URL which I will be. So this is the request which I will be trying to do it. So normally what we'll try to do, so we have got a request object. So normally we will write it something like fetch of like this, right? Like this, right? So now right now we are not doing this, but fetch can also accept the request object also. So we are separating the request definition from the actual network operation. So now request object is there. So we will be calling the fetch, and that fetch will try to do HTTP call over the network. And importantly, we can also use the same request object when interacting with the cache storage also. The same request object we will use it to make the request in the cache storage. Now let's try to have the cache thing opening. So here I will be calling so I will be calling here async function. So here I can have async, okay, and here I will call it like this. Why? Because these are all async, and I will call directly. This is the code which I will be trying to do it. So now in this async, so first what I will try to do is we need to open the cache. So here let's try to have a cache at the top is equal to empty at the starting, and here I can have cache is equal to await. So you will be having a method that is nothing but caches dot open. So you will be having a method called as an open, and here you can have something like tasks hyphen v1. This is a, now here caches is a browser provided global object. This one, it gives us access to the cache storage API. So we are calling something like caches.open tasks-v1. So this opens a cache named tasks-v1. If that cache doesn't exist, the browser creates it. If it already exists, then the existing cache will be opened. The important thing to understand is that caches.open returns a promise. So that's why we are using the await. So this gives us a cache object. Now we can use these methods such as cache.match, cache.put to delete keys and all those things. So now, so let's try to check that whether the cache is present or not. So here I will have a function in such a way that async function get cache. So here we will try to check whether the cache is already present or not. So here I can do return cache. So this one also promise return cache.match of request. So for this request, whether we have already the thing or not, we are trying to do it. So what is this one is, this method is doing is, this is one of the important lines in the entire example. We are asking cache, you already have, do you already have a response corresponding to this request? To this request, do you already have the cache or not? We are asking. If it is having means, then we are calling cache.match. If matching response exists means, then it will return the response object. If nothing is found means, then it will return you the undefined. So that is the thing. So now our application can do something like rest. So here we'll try to get it avoid. So here we can do something like, so we got the cache, right? So here I can call something like let response is equal to avoid dot get cache. So I will call this method. So now I will able to get the response. If the cache is there means I can able to get the response from the decision point, this one. If so, now what happens if there is no cache? So now let's say that if there is no cache, what happens? So then what I can do, if there is no cache, okay, it's an undefined, right? So then what we need to make the actual network request. So here what I can do, so here let's try to do async function get to do response. If you want, you can add it. And in this one, we'll try to do the actual network call. So here that is nothing but constant response is equal to avoid fetch of request. So whatever the request you are having, I will run, and I will return the response. That's it. So now if response is not there means, so what I will be trying to do here, so here I can save the response in avoid get to do response. That's it. So now I am getting it from the actual network request. So now here I am trying to check the cache. If the cache is the response is available means, then use the cache response. If it is not available means, then we are trying to call the fetch, that means actual network request. This is commonly used as a cache first strategy. This application checks the cache first. Only when the resource isn't available does it go to the network. So now we got the actual request. So now we need to do what we need to do. We need to save the network response tab into the cache. So here let's try to have another method saving. So async function save to cache, and we got the response here. So here what I can do, await cache.put of request. So we know the request. For that request, what I will be trying to do, response.clone. So I will try to explain you what is this one. So here the important method which we are trying to use it is the cache.put. So here conceptually what you can do, it can store the request response pair. So here I got the response. So here I can call something like await save to cache, and I need to pass the response. So I have passed the response. So here, so normally I can use the, instead of using that one, instead of using the clone, I can use response. So store the response in the cache associated with this request I am trying to say. After this operation, the cache contains something like get request we are having and the response object we are having. But why we are using this response.clone? This is very important part of the example. You might ask, why not simply I can use the response directly like this instead of using this one? Why can't I simply use the response like this? But here what we are trying to do, that is very much important. The reason is that a response object has a body that is generally stream based. So what is that fetch will return you? It will return you a stream of data. So once a response body is consumed, you can't simply consume that same body again. Later in our code, we are doing await response.json. So that is the main thing which we will be trying to do it. So this consumes the response body. So we want one copy for the cache and one copy for the application. So that's why we are using the response.clone. So creates another response that can be stored independently. Conceptually, this stream of data will be stored here in this one. That's it. This is a very common pattern when working with the fetch API responses and caching. Now reading the response. So here we got the response from the cache. Now what I can do it is, so here I can do constant data is equal to await response.json. I can directly use the response.json here. This converts the JSON response body into JavaScript object. So directly I can do the console.log of data finished. And here I can have something like this. Here also I have saved it. So now let's come understand the complete flow. So here what I have to do, so we are calling this async like this. So our application starts here. First we are trying to open the cache here. So first we are opening the cache here, and then we are calling to check whether the response already exists or not. If the response is there is no cache response, then we are trying to get it through the fetch and then save it in our cache, and finally we are showing the output. Now let's try to run this one. So first time when you try to see, the cache will be empty and it will make an actual call and you'll be able to get the output. So let's try to see. So here I will be calling this one in the live server. Let's open that one in the live server here. Okay. So this is a to-do application, and here if you try to check it, let me go to the application and in the cache storage. So here you will be able to see I have deleted it. And if you go to the network, so first time when I try to make the fetch XHR, you'll be able to see the request has been made. So here the request has been made, this one. So now when you go to the application, and here you'll be able to see the to-do/1, the response headers and all those things has been saved here. So here you'll be able to see the entire request and response has been saved. So this time when I try to refresh it again, so you'll not able to see any thing, and in the console you'll be able to see the output has been coming. So here you'll be able to see the output. So this is what the cache thing. So here what is happening, so the first time when you try to open, so here the cache already contains it, so it will get from the cache. If it is not there, means then the fetch request is getting made. So that is what about the thing. Where is this actually useful? This isn't an actually pure concept. Cache storage is heavily relevant to the modern web applications. Actually, one of the biggest use case is the progressive web apps. We'll be using in the progressive web apps. For example, imagine an application that needs to work even when the user has a poor or no network connectivity. Means we can use the cache concept. So and potentially serves them from the cache. This can make application faster, more responsive, less dependent on the network, and more resilient to the network failures. There is also another important concept which you need to know is the service worker. Cache storage is very commonly used together with the service workers. A service worker can sit between your application and the network, and we can able to call this one also. We'll try to understand those things all. So cache storage is not the HTTP cache. One more important distinction is the browser already has an HTTP cache. That's different from the cache storage API. The browser's HTTP cache is controlled largely by the HTTP caching mechanisms such as cache control, e-tag, expires, last modified. These are all the things. Cache storage is something your web application can explicitly control using JavaScript. So that is one thing. You are explicitly telling to the browser that save that one in the browser in the cache storage API. So here you are explicitly telling save to cache this one all. So this is related to caching, but they are not the same mechanism. Browser HTTP cache and HTTP cache storage. So this is what about the thing which I want to tell you. The final summary, what is a cache storage? It's a browser web API designed to store the request response pairs. Why do we use it? To reuse previously fetched resource instead of unnecessarily requesting them from the network. So this is what about the thing. So this is the basic idea behind the cache storage API. It's a relatively small API, but it does extremely powerful when combined with the service workers and offline first application architecture. So we'll try to learn about those all the things. So that's it guys about this cache storage API. If you have this video helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye.